being here today to support us in this cake competition. My name is Mingli, and here are my colleagues, James, Alex, and Sophie. As you can see in the screen, this is our agenda, and that's how we organize our presentation. And after our presentation, we want you to remember our point. We strongly recommend manufacturing in-house, but outsourcing distribution, acquiring and developing the new company for steel beverage. And finally, you should have a more promotion for marketing, especially in sustainability of water and healthy lifestyle. And now, James is going to talk about the current position of Coca-Cola.
Thank you, Serena. Well, we would like to start the presentation by positioning ourselves in the North American market, thanks to the 2020 vision by Coca-Cola. In this North American market, as we all know, that the market can be further divided into the sparkling drink and still beverage drink. So let's take a look at the sparkling drink. In the general environment, we have a growing population, urban migration, as well as we have a technology innovation in terms of better and more efficient manufacturing. We also have a trend into a healthier lifestyle. In terms of the market itself, we have the market is very competitive. Our major competitors are Pepsi and DPS. Together, Pepsi and us, we share about 72% of the market share. We also have a very high buyer power that results from the relatively low switching costs. So what are our strengths and weaknesses in this particular segment? Well, in terms of the strengths, throughout the years of doing business in the sparkling drink, we have developed one of the most advanced, the most extensive distribution network in North American market. Thanks to the marketing budget spending, we also have a very strong brand awareness, and we have been able to achieve a higher margin by selling our concentrate to our producers, bottlers. The next slide is about the sparkling drink. As you can see on the slide, the industry itself is also very competitive, but it is very profitable. The competition comes both from our current existing major competitors as well as our private competitors, smaller private firms. As quoted by one of our top executives in Coca-Cola, no single manufacturer in this segment has more than 20% of the market share. What are our strengths? Well, besides the distribution network, we also have a very successful history in terms of acquiring those smaller firms and make them profitable to become part of Coca-Cola. So what are the weaknesses? Well, one of the weaknesses we identified, it is the manufacturing process. The process itself, known as the hot fill process, is very different from those we have in the sparkling drink manufacturing production. And that means if we invest from the scratch, it will be very expensive, involve very high cost. And now I would like to hand over to my colleague Cholo to talk more about our business model as well as our recommendations.
From now on, we like to introduce our recommendation, which is the manufacturing in-house and the outsourcing the distribution channel as well. But before we do that, I'd like to see what kind of current business model we have. We have the concentrate producer under our power. It's just producing all the raw materials, and then just for the bottlers, and the bottlers do the packaging and then just bottling businesses for the customers. But under this current business model, we have some kind of issues, which is ownership issues and more steps to reach to the customers. That takes a lot of time, a lot of steps to get to the customers. That's why we need to find out the new business models which we have to choose. From the case, we have two options. First one is having the manufacturing systems in-house, and also just having the manufacturing systems and the just distribution channel as well. And the other option is just acquisition the CCE. That covers the more than 90% of the production volume of the North America. So and then just refranchising the old butlers into the 2 or 3 big segments based on the territorial issues. But that two options still have the issues, which is territorial confliction between butlers and the lacking out of the local business, local knowledge. Then how do we deal with that two issues? We can deal with that two issues by having the manufacturing in-house and outsourcing the distribution channels. Furthermore, by manufacturing in-house, we have much more advantages, which is increasing economies of scale and also the high cost efficiencies. Since we are integrating the manufacturing systems and the manufacturing equipment all together, we are expecting to have consolidated IT infrastructures. That gives us much more power on the quality control. However, it looks like it takes a lot of time to have the consolidated IT infrastructures. However, since we are integrating the IT structures and the administrative system together, we are expecting to that problem will be nothing. And then the other problem we may have is cost of goods sold will be increasing because of the exposure of the increasing price for raw materials. However, since we are after manufacturing in-house and outsourcing the distribution channel, we are expecting to save 11% of the profits annually. That makes us more power on the quality control, and the more power for the price negotiating for the raw materials that reduce the by the month we need. This is the second part of our first recommendation, which Serena will just introduce much more.
Thank you. As you all know, the value chain includes 3 major components. As Alex just introduced about the manufacturing in-house, which includes the concentration at the bottler, now I would like to discuss about outsourcing distributions. Refer to the box, as you can see on the screen, one of the reasons we recommend outsourcing distribution is the local knowledge, which will help you have more understanding and more resource about your local customer, which will help you reach their needs. Moreover, local distributor will help you have the consumer future preference. After analyzing the case, if you outsourcing the distribution, the model business of Coca-Cola will be similar with the model business of the Anheuser-Busch beer company. So, using the beer company as a base for our estimation, we calculate the expenses of the beer company, which were 26.41%, and refer to the Coca-Cola in 2010, their revenue was 37.47%. So if assume that we outsourcing the distribution, we will decrease approximately about 11% of the expense for Coca-Cola, which will save the company about $4,000 million. However, when we outsourcing the distribution, there will be some issues, and one of the most important issues in the case is how to motivate your distributors. And we strongly recommend you building the better communication through communication platform, which the IT department will do that. And you also need to negotiate directly with your contributor and as well as faster delivery. And one of the most important things I want to talk about is motivate your distributor through incentive model, which gives them the more they distribute, the more percentage and discount they gonna get from the final products profits of the company, and the number of the discount will be different between different areas. And now, Alex is going to talk about the still beverage industry.
Thank you, everyone. So our second recommendation is still with the still beverage industry. As I mentioned earlier, the still beverage industry emerged as early as 2005. It is a very exciting opportunity for us to step in. Coca-Cola has long been accused of not responding fast enough to the market trend. So we actually moved into this market in about late 2007 by acquiring a number of smaller firms. However, given that we recommending manufacturing in-house as well as outsourced distribution, we can solve this problem by responding to the market trend much faster. So what are our options in terms of doing a deal with the still beverages? We can either starting from scratch, increasing budget in R&D, but this can give us the potential to become one of the first market leaders. However, as we conclude, it is too costly and too risky for us. What we recommend here is to focusing on the acquisition and development. So why? The first reason is that it aligns with our current investment strategy. As I mentioned earlier, we moved into this market in 2007 by acquiring a number of smaller firms. That includes the London-based tea company, as well as the Innocent Real Fruit Smoothie. And a number of those firms, as we have researched, they have been doing very well, and together they've been able to generate positive cash flows for our firms. So on average, it's about 2% annually. So it aligns with our current strategy. Also, as my colleague Chonglong just mentioned, by manufacturing in-house, we can solve one of the issues we solve is to respond to the market trend much faster. Also, we identify the other problem is that currently we have an overcapacity issue in our bottler. That is, we only use about 70% of the total volume of production. So what should we do with the rest of 30%? We're recommending that to transform those rest of 30% into the still beverage, those acquired smaller firms, and inject capital to develop them. Now I would like to move on to the third recommendation, and I would like to hand over to my colleague Sophie to talk more about our marketing recommendation as well as our financial analysis.
Thank you, James. So I'm going to focus on the marketing budget. As you can see from the graph here, Coca-Cola has steadily invested in its marketing costs as early as establishment to current year of 2010. It has reached its maximum of $3 billion in 2008. And we will continuously advise the board of directors, Coca-Cola, as well as the Coca-Cola colleagues, to continuously invest in Coca-Cola marketing budget for about $3.2 billion annually. And here's two marketing projects we would like to recommend for you to take into consideration. This is marketing budget of healthy lifestyle. Coca-Cola has traditionally sponsoring with sports events and also partnering up with the athletics to propose for as carbonated drinks. And as you can see from the poster on the right, which was specifically designed for the board of directors, it is actually called the evolution of human race. So what the poster actually portrays is that we would like to compare the evolution of human race with the evolution of the beverage, from soda to still beverage. So in this kind of example, we can show that to the customers that we have innovation, and also we have the humor in marketing. And we would like to utilize that advantage into marketing.
We're expecting that transition. So the cost savings will be able to achieve at the end of the 5 years. Thank you.
I believe during your presentation you stated that one of our weaknesses was our hot fill manufacturing capabilities. Yet your recommendation is that we manufacture in-house both hot fill and cold fill. Can you elaborate how we're to improve? Okay,
that's a very good question. So it still goes back to the 70 and 30% as I mentioned in the presentation. So what we are recommending here is since we already acquired the operation of the CCD, and we can eliminate the operation down to about 70%. So what should we do with the rest of 30%? We are not going to let those plants just standing there. And compared to investing from the stretch, it is much cheaper, as we research, much cheaper for us to transform those plants into the hot fill process. Because all the packaging and the deliveries, the manufacturing packaging system are quite similar. Instead, the only difference is the manufacturing process itself. So we are transforming only that small part, and that can help us to achieve a cost saving.
Given the fact that you're proposing to bring the manufacturing or the bottling in-house and leave the distribution out, what kind of incentive do the distributors have as a lower profit margin remaining in business? And given the fact that you really, some of the ties that you have with the bottling, investing in the process to deal with your products, really a distributor has nothing more than trucks and warehouses, and there may be some difficulty in retaining from your competitors, a distributor network, for example, that really doesn't have a potential to stop it from necessarily being poached, for example. Have you given any thoughts on how you align those two pieces?
That's a very good question. Actually, we discussed this a number of times. We realized that once we acquire CCE and we make the manufacturing process in-house, we are actually taking the most value-added part away from the distributors. So that's why I mentioned that we have one of our most urgent issues is also motivate those distributors. And our recommendation is offer incentives. Would you like to elaborate on that?
I want to make clear point on the incentive model for giving an example. For example, if you're doing the incentive model, you are going to give them percentage on your final products profits. So for you have I believe you have 6 channels marketing right now. For example, in North America area, the requirement number is 1 billion K a month. And if the distributor reach above that number, you are going to give them assume 5% of your final profits. So if they reach, the more they distribute, the more they are going to get the percentage from the final profits. So that's going to encourage them to distribute more. And moreover, because the customer needs different in different area, so the number of the percentage going to be give for the distributor going to be different in different area.
I have a question that relates to the cash